Home sales are nosediving, collapse has begun, and I'm going to demonstrate that with proof. Hello friends, welcome back. It's a great day in South Florida, and yes, the collapse has begun, and shout out to Johnny Cash. We are falling into a burning ring of fire as far as the housing market is concerned. And I spoke to an attorney friend this week who specializes in condo litigation, who specializes in HOA litigation. And while typically his services range somewhere around $500 an hour, I've been friends with him for over 30 years, so I got the friend and family discount. And truthfully, it really had much more to do with the fact that he wanted to speak to me about something that I specialize in. But I certainly wasn't going to waste the opportunity to find out what's happening in his world as far as condo litigation goes. And yes, there has absolutely been trending content talking about the insurance nightmare and the 40-year inspection nightmare that many of these condo associations are going to experience. And yes, there's an FHA blacklist, which condo associations are suffering from. And no, I don't intend to beat a dead horse, and you can check out the videos that I've done on that subject in the channel at the links below or up above. But he did say that the condo market in Florida is going to be devastated over the next few years because the people who live in many of these condos simply don't have the money to pay the upcoming assessments or the fees to bring the building up to code, which means there is going to be massive volatility and distress in the condo market within Florida. And the only folks that are going to win are developers and institutions that have the money, and they're not going to spend any of it to bring the building up to code. They're going to knock the building down and build something better, something bigger, something more modern, something newer, and definitely something much more expensive, which prices many folks out of ever affording a condo in Florida ever again. So the dream of retiring on the beach in Florida is going to be destroyed for many folks, because retiring to the beach in Florida is not going to be cheap ever again. But this video is not meant to talk about the condo market at all. This video is about home sales are nosediving and the collapse has begun. And of course, I'm going to back my words with some data and some proof, because anybody can say anything and the numbers don't lie. But my friend Kevin and his wife Michelle are up in Destin, Florida, and shout out to Kevin 24/7 and at Squirrel Tribe. Both of them are on YouTube. Both of them have great channels, and I've become friends with them through YouTube. They have been shopping for a home, or at least looking for a home in their market for a long time. And it's not uncommon for them to send me properties that are on the market in their market for me to give my opinion on what I think. Because although no, I am not in their market, I don't need to be to give them the advice that they need, no matter what the conditions are, if they want to move forward. Which is really just a long way of getting to, he sent me a property to look at. And the first thing that I couldn't help but notice is there's been a massive uptick in the amount of homes for sale in his market in Destin, Florida. But he found a single family home on Zillow for $515,000. It's 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, but it's advertised as assumable VA mortgage. And while I know for certain there are all types of creative financing deals that happen in the background, the numbers never get recorded in the MLS, and almost none of the auctions that are happening on distress sales, short sales, or homes for sale by people who are in financial pain, almost none of them make the stats because they're off the market transactions, which gives a completely distorted picture of what the actual market is, which is probably why if you talk to a real estate professional, they will likely tell you there are no foreclosures, there are no short sales, there are no distress sales that are happening in Florida. And while I believe they believe that they're telling the truth, they simply don't know what they don't know, and they are dead wrong. But I know when there's a seller advertising a VA assumable mortgage, and there's a massive uptick in homes for sale in that market that are sitting on the market unsold, this is all the proof in the world that I need to know that the collapse has begun. And I read your comments, and many of you have asked, when will I do a video with Michael Bordenero? And I've also read some of your comments who ask, Who should I listen to? Because many of you out there watch many other content creators. So I know that many of you are watching Nick at Reventure Consulting. I know many of you are watching Saks Realty. I know many of you are watching Jared Jones and the Real Estate Ninja and John Williams and I Allegedly and Scott Williams. And I've got a confession to make. Almost everything that they share is 100% true. So Nick at Reventure is right when he says that realtors in panic mode as mortgage demand plummets and Blackstone is in default as property values plunging and FedEx issues a dire warning. Shipments have collapsed and landlords are frantically cutting rent. And the Fed just triggered an interest rate collapse. And he's right when he says Walmart issues a dire warning, prepare for deflation in 2024. And Nick is also right when he said that home builders just reported the biggest crash in prices since 2008. So I totally understand why there are people out there that are wondering, who do I listen to? Who's telling the truth? And while I'm not going to name every single video that every one of the people that I listed before has put out there, because this would be a 10-hour video, but Michael Bordenero is right. There is a silent crisis. Home buyers are getting too old. And he's also right when he talks about 2024 being the year of the retail apocalypse. And that home sellers are now giving up 1.9% mortgage rates. And that people are leaving Florida in droves. And that rent is too damn high. And the condo crisis just got worse. You've been blacklisted. And that you should probably avoid moving to Florida at all costs. And I understand many of you would like me to do videos with some of these creators. And I've reached out to many of these creators trying to do exactly that. And while I know that Saks Realty is not happy with me because I used some of his video in one of mine, and I also know that Travis at Real Estate Mindset is also not happy with me because he's friends with Saks, which, full disclosure, I thought I was friends with Saks too, but I felt his interview with Peter Schiff had to be shared because it's really important information. And I also believe that imitation is the highest form of flattery. So I certainly didn't intend to offend anybody by using some of his video in mine, but I never understood why he didn't take the opportunity to ask Peter Schiff the main question that needed to be asked, because I suspect almost everybody agrees that the housing market and the economy and the financial system is about to nosedive. I would have asked Peter, what is the solution? How do we fix the problem? What do you recommend? What would you do if you were in charge of everything? And I hope one day I'll get the opportunity to ask him those questions. But in the interim, Saks Realty is right. Landlords are screwed. The billion-dollar U.S. housing rental industry is under attack. And the housing market is doomed. The U.S. financial crisis, never seen before, housing market halts with Melody Wright, is right. And I agree with Saks when he says that this is scary and that the unstoppable housing market crash is unstoppable. And I agree with him in his video where he talks about the debt will collapse the global economy. And he wonders if the US will survive because we're looking at worldwide economic collapse. And because I do take the time to read your comments, and I know that everybody out there, or at least lots of people out there, are extremely confused. And there are so many different versions of the same thing being produced on YouTube by different content creators. There are so many carbon copies of people doing the same video over and over again. How could it be possible that everybody's telling the truth at the same time? Who are we supposed to listen to? Because Patrick Bet-David on the PBD podcast and on his Valuetainment channel talks about a reverse market crash. And he warns that the housing market is going to skyrocket. Is it possible that all of these creators are telling the truth? Because it sounds like they're telling very different stories. And to be totally transparent, I had no intention of creating this video right now today, the way I'm doing it, I had fully intended to go outside, go down to the beach, shoot in front of a condo. And yes, it's a great day in South Florida, and it is South Florida winter, but it's windy as hell and it's been raining like crazy. And I got a tornado warning yesterday for the first time in a long time. And I can tell you the last thing I expected to get was a tornado warning while I'm living in Florida. I expect to get hurricane warnings, but tornado, give me a break. I don't expect to get hit by a tornado, but I'm also not going to put myself in harm's way just in case. And the last thing I want is anybody to lose their mind and start to panic, because I've learned nobody makes good decisions when they're in panic mode. But if you want to talk about telling the truth, I just got floored by a trending video that's out there right now on Club Shay Shay. And I'm sure many of you have no idea what Club Shay Shay is. But I suspect many of you are familiar with Shannon Sharpe, who is an NFL Hall of Fame football player. And he is a world-class broadcaster, interviewer, and podcaster. But he interviewed Cat Williams, who you probably also don't know, but he's a comedian. And while truthfully, I've always thought he was very funny, I have never seen an interview like this before. And the video's got something like 20 million views in a few days. This thing has gone viral like no other. And I suspect it's because Cat Williams was telling the truth. And I suspect none of the people that he was talking about wanted to hear it.
Thanks for stopping by, Cat.
And I needed you to know why I came by.
Yeah, I need you to tell us why.
People know I don't go everywhere. I'm not interested in talking to people unless it's like a Larry King or somebody of an amazing ilk that I would actually want to go talk to in real life.
Okay.
I don't do it so I can sell product, and I got things to sell, so let me come talk. You have a great product here, and as a fan base, we love the attention that you spend on the guest. We love how much work you've done, how well you know them, how prepared you are. The same things that we liked about you in football. You brought that on over to here, and that's why it resonates. And the reason I had to come is because you've made a safe place for the truth to be told. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I have watched all of these lowbrow comedians come here and disrespect you in your face and tell you straight up lies. I'm talking about things that have never been heard in all of Black Hollywood. They feel comfortable sitting here and lying to you.
But it is my experience that the truth will set you free. And the truth is, I've been committed to sharing the truth about what's going on in the housing market since day one. But truthfully, I think I've been sharing the truth far too aggressively. And I was looking at other creators who are also telling the truth the wrong way. And in my mind, I've been trying to rebuttal the narrative that Reventure and Michael Bordenero and the Real Estate Ninja and Jared Jones and Real Estate Mindset and many other content creators are putting out there. And I failed to realize that all of us are telling the truth. And I know that sometimes the data that I'm sharing and the information that I'm sharing is conflicting with what other people say. We are all telling the truth in our own vacuums. So when I responded to one of your comments asking, who should I listen to, Nick at Reventure or me? My response was, listen to both of us. Listen to everything you possibly can. Do your own research. None of us have a monopoly on all the ideas or all the possibilities or all of the solutions or probabilities or outcomes out there. And most of the creators aren't actually real estate professionals. They're simply making content in a vacuum to appease the algorithm so their channel can grow. But none of it is suitable financial advice. In fact, none of it is ever intended to be. But don't trust any of us as being the gospel. Do your own research. Do your own due diligence and determine what is right for you. Because none of us know what's right for you. But all of us are telling the truth. Home sales are nosediving. The collapse has begun. And I just got off the phone with somebody who's looking to relocate from Seattle, or more specifically Bainbridge Island, and move to Boca Raton. But he's not ready to buy now. He wants to buy next year. But next year is next year, and right now it's 2024. So I commit in 2024 that I'm going to be less aggressive with my delivery and just start telling you more of the truth, which I know is what you want to hear. And if you really want to know exactly what's happening right now in the markets that I serve, the best place to find that information moving forward is on my free Patreon channel. It's linked down below. You can join for free, and I'll share exactly what you must know. But I hope I've eliminated some confusion, and I hope I get to collaborate with other creators. And yes, I suspect the world is going to hell in a handbasket, but I also suspect somebody out there needs to hear this. In case nobody said it to you today, just know Chris Igoe loves you.